Have you ever just felt stuck, wondering why it's so incredibly easy to mindlessly scroll on your phone, but an absolute battle to stick with a workout routine? We're always told to go big or go home when it comes to changing our lives. But what if that's all wrong? What if the real secret to a total transformation isn't some massive, heroic leap, but just a tiny step? Well, today we're diving into the brilliant framework from James Clear's Atomic Habits to show you how those tiny 1% improvements are the things that actually lead to jaw-dropping results.
I mean, this is the big question, right? Why does it feel like we're constantly fighting this uphill battle against ourselves? It is so frustrating, and we've all been there. But it turns out the answer has way less to do with a lack of willpower and everything to do with the system you're using. All right, so let's get right into the core idea here. The whole foundation of Atomic Habits isn't about some huge, life-altering moment. It's actually about the surprisingly powerful, almost magical effect of just getting 1% better every single day. And the math behind this 1% idea, this is what's truly mind-blowing. We usually just dismiss small changes, right? Because the immediate impact feels like nothing. But James Clear uses this brilliant analogy. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. That little 1% daily gain doesn't just add up. No, it snowballs. It grows exponentially. And here is the result of that snowball effect. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you're not just a little better, you are a staggering 37 times better. But, and this is super important, look at the flip side. A tiny 1% daily decline will bring you down almost to zero. That is the incredible power of these small, consistent choices. And this is what Clear calls an atomic habit. Think of it like an atom. It's a tiny, fundamental building block, but it's part of a much larger system of growth. The perfect real-world example of this is the British cycling team. For 100 years, they were just average. Then, a new coach came in with this philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. They started improving everything by just 1%. I mean everything, from the ergonomics of the bike seats to the massage gels they used, even the pillows the athletes slept on. And all these tiny atomic changes compounded into them becoming one of the most dominant teams in sports history. Now, this whole idea leads to a huge shift in thinking. We're all taught to be super goal-oriented, right? Set big goals. But James Clear argues that our focus is completely in the wrong place. He says we should pretty much forget the goals and get obsessed with our systems. So what's the difference? Well, a goal is the result you want, like winning the championship. The system is the process that gets you there. It's what you do at practice every single day. And here's the real kicker. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. Every single Olympian wants to win a gold medal. The goal itself isn't what separates them. And this quote just gets right to the heart of it all. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. It's not about having bigger dreams. It's about building a better process. If you can nail the system, the results, they just happen. Okay, so if the system is the secret, how in the world do we build a better one? Well, Clear breaks it down into 4 simple laws of behavior change. And we're going to start with the very first one. Make it obvious. This is all about the first part of any habit, the cue that kicks it all off. The first step is just awareness. So many of the things we do every day are just totally automatic. We're on autopilot. To change them, you first have to actually see them. A great tool for this is the habit scorecard. It's a really simple exercise. Just list your daily habits from the moment you wake up and mark each one as positive, negative, or neutral. The point isn't to judge yourself, it's just to notice what's actually happening. Okay, so once you have that awareness, you can get intentional. And a super powerful tool for this is what's called an implementation intention. It's a fancy name for giving your habit a specific time and place to live in the real world. So instead of a vague idea like, I'll meditate more, you create a concrete plan. I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. See? It removes all the guesswork. Now, you can make your new habit even more obvious by linking it to a habit you already have. This is called habit stacking. The idea is that the end of your current habit becomes the trigger for your new one. A classic example is, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Your coffee habit, which is already automatic, becomes the trigger. It's brilliant. So you've made the cue obvious. Check. Now, you've got to make the habit itself irresistible. This is the second law, and it's all about the craving part of the habit loop, which is powered by that famous little brain chemical, dopamine.
Now, here's a crucial insight that might surprise you. Our brains release dopamine not just when we get a reward, but when we anticipate one. It's the chase that we're really addicted to. That little hit of anticipation is what drives us to act. So if we want to build a good habit, we have to make the thought of doing it more attractive. And there's a genius strategy for this called temptation bundling. It's simple. You pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, maybe you only let yourself watch your favorite Netflix show while you're on the exercise bike. You're basically hijacking the dopamine your brain gets from the show and attaching it to your workout. And hey, never ever underestimate the power of your social circle. We are wired to imitate the habits of the people around us. Want to make working out more attractive? Go join a gym or a running club. When a certain behavior is just the normal thing to do in your tribe, it instantly becomes way more attractive to you. Okay, on to our third law, make it easy. Now, this one sounds almost too simple, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful because it works with our human nature, not against it. It's all about reducing the effort required to do good things. Let's face it, our brains are wired to conserve energy. That means we will always drift toward the easiest option. So instead of fighting this, we can use it. We can design our environment so that good habits are the path of least resistance. You want to eat healthier? Put a big bowl of fruit right on the counter. Want to watch less TV? Unplug it and hide the remote in another room after you use it. You're adding friction to the bad habit, making it harder to do. And a fantastic trick here is the 2-minute rule. The idea is to scale down any new habit so that it takes less than 2 minutes to get started. So read before bed becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. The goal isn't the action itself. It's to master the art of just showing up. You have to establish the habit before you can ever hope to improve it. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most critical law of them all. Make it satisfying. This is the one that closes the loop. It's what hardwires the behavior into your brain for the future. And it's all about the reward. So the cardinal rule of behavior change is really simple. What is immediately rewarded gets repeated. Our brains are wired for instant gratification. The problem is, the rewards for good habits, like getting in shape, are often delayed. But the pleasure from bad habits is almost always instant. So the key is to find a way to feel successful right away. It can be something as simple as putting a big X on a calendar after you complete your habit. That gives you a little hit of satisfaction that tells your brain, hey, do that again.
So after all of this, after all these laws and strategies, it really comes down to one simple question for you. Forget about the massive life overhaul. Just for today, what is the one tiny atomic change, that 1% improvement that you can make? What is it for you? Because finding that one small thing and just letting it compound day after day, that is the true secret to remarkable results.